The Cowboy, written by my father, Theodore Lowell Willard, in 1994, for his sister Mary Lou and her husband Joe Wurst, on the occasion of their 50th wedding anniversary. It's about the experience he had on the Wurst cattle ranch when Mary and Joe were newly married. It was just around the end of World War II, and Redhead Ted was on leave from the Navy. Joe, being a little older than Ted, had finished his tour of duty in the Army and was back home in Idaho working the ranch with his father Henry, a hard cattleman. Ted patterned the rhyming after the poem The Cremation of Sam McGee by Robert W. Service. Ted passed away in 2016. This is The Cowboy. When I was a lad, I often had a dream of being a cowboy, to wander the range in a land so strange, but never to be a plowboy. Born in this city was really a pity, 'cause the call of the wild was clear, riding the vale and breaking the trail 'neath the open sky so near. Then one fine day I came to play at a pony ranch near home. They taught me to ride, and for a fee I tried a real buckaroo to become. I learned to saddle, and I learned to bridle, and to rub that pony dry. And I sat that hoss like I was the boss, but somehow it was just a lie. With autumn leaves and the rustling trees and the Indian trails beneath, it was fun to dream, but then I'd see the city through the trees. Without a break I'd never make the cowboy life on the range, so I set aside that dream and plied the ocean wild and strange. Then my sister Mary, in a way contrary, married a rancher pure, a cowboy for sure, with cattle galore, and a great big spread as a lure. This gem of the West was nestled in the best of the Wood River Valley of Idaho, a desert turned green 'neath the rancher's gleam of wells dug deep that flowed. So visit I must to see this cuss that lived the life that I'd dreamed, out there in the West, where life was the best, and trout glittered and splashed in the stream. Now Joe and his pa, a crusty old sod, ran that spread, you see. They ran it tight and worked it right, 'cause nothing came for free. Work was the word, long and hard, no roaming the hills for me. From dawn to dusk we plowed or husked, whatever the task might be. We watched and worried, struggled and hurried, and sweat in 1,000 ways, to feed those cows, protect their browse, and keep 'em alive each day. Then one fine day old Henry'd say, as he screwed his saddle down tight, "We're gonna do a buckaroo," as I pulled mine down just right. "We'll find stray cows," Henry allowed, "out on the open range. We'll bring 'em around to the main herd now, so they won't be killed or get mange." The pony I'd picked was feisty and quick, with a gleam in her eye as I stepped to her side. When I climbed in the saddle, she went skedaddle, and I knew I was in for a ride. Out we headed, through sagebrush we threaded, and I was feeling mighty proud. As I looked all round, at last I'd found those blue skies with nary a cloud. I was having a time enjoying the climb when all of a sudden, ignoring my plea, she went through a space too small for me, and sagebrush tore at my knees. But I got through that, and still I sat that saddle like a pro, determined to show that this city boy could fit the rancher's mold. On we went for hours and more. I humped and bumped till my butt was sore. The cows were few, and the flies did chew, and even a rattler was in store. But I sat that saddle tight as a tick to show this kid could ride, ignoring the pain and the blood and the strain on my poor old backside hide. We came to a crick, and 'mongst the sticks some strays hove into view. "Let's get 'em, Red," old Henry said. "We'll round 'em up right soon." We whooped and hollered, and soon they follered, and I felt like a real cowpoke. Then suddenly, like a boat cut free, one steers a course of her own. "Hey, Red," he said, "give her a chase and bring her back to the crowd." I pondered the scene and trying to glean a thought on what to do now. Like a shot crossed the bow of that old stray cow, my horse took off like a bird in flight. She veered to the right, and I hung on tight, a-clutchin' with all my might. She turned on a dime while I tried to climb that saddle like a ship in a storm. Then the cow gave up and joined the club, and though my pony veered once more, I still hung on like a scared decon, then sighed a big amen. When back to the herd, old Henry's word was, "Good job," and away we went. But my pony balked, and though I talked as nicely as I could, she wouldn't budge, nor could I nudge her to walk up ahead as she should. "It's a snake," Hank said, "that your horses dread. Just shoot it, and away we ride." So I squeezed off around from the 22 I found, slung at my horse's side. Wouldn't you know, I shot that bow right between the eyes. 'Twas a marvelous thing, that shot did sing, and the rattler up and died. But Henry said, "No, it just ain't so. The snake just struck at the sound." Yet Deadshot Ted was stuck in my head as I cut those rattles around. The hours were 4, but it seemed like more since we'd been gone from home. It's a different scene from what I'd dreamed of the cowboy's life on the roam. The sun was high and the dust did rise, and the cows were mean as could be. My seat was sore and my legs even more, and the flies had a good piece of me. The work is tough, the life is rough, and pay you don't often see. But the beauty and space, whatever the pace, makes one a rancher proud to be. Nor would he renounce for a bed with a flounce or a condo by the sea, the mountains call, and the range and all, the freedom to do as they please. When I was a lad, I often had a dream of being a cowboy. Now it's time to forget my dream of the West and hearken to a different voice. I'd rather be spooked in a chemical lab than chased by a longhorn steer. And though computers have bites, they don't chew like the mites, and an executive chair won't ruin my rear. The Cowboy by Ted Willard.